what in this moment I feel deeply grateful for is a moment yesterday in the Walking the Land celebration gathering when Dr. Usman Ali Pam said after my somatic attunement that he felt that we could spend a whole time together with the attunement process. And that was very touching to me from a man so steeped in ceremony. And in that, I heard the understanding that those attunements that are brief and seem simple are really the product of very deep reflection into the human nervous system and to the energy present in a group, even on the Zoom platform, which is where I have developed most of these attunements. And to feel the magnitude of bioelectrical reorganization that's occurring throughout the human structure in the process of doing these simple gestures, and to recognize the magnitude of them and how expansive they are, was really significant for me. And I felt deeply seen and honored and recognized by somebody I respect profoundly. I'm very grateful for that experience.
There's been so many moments that have been significant for me, and I feel really grateful for actually like picking just instinctively sort of a path and then staying on it this whole time. But the moment that I actually want to acknowledge was something that I just went to like on a whim, and it was the climate change art exhibit that was supposed to be in person with a Zoom component, and because of the pandemic, we did it all online, and it was just listening to the presentations of each of these young artists and the diversity. It was really hard to decide where to go to deepen conversation. But the last woman, whose name was Amy Snyder, she spoke about the Buddhist concept of dukkha, which means suffering, and just the importance of staying present with suffering as we do our activism. And so as I asked the question, now what, I feel like there was a deep answer very aligned with my own experience there. And so I'm really grateful for her bringing dukkha into this space.
Yes. In the early weeks of Now What, there was Joy in Australia, who I had talked with a few months earlier, when she felt unsure about some of her needs getting met to continue the path that she was devoted to. And then I found her joyous and thriving and sharing and inviting. I kind of found it so magical, partly that she was all the way to Australia, just the technology of the clarity of hearing her and seeing her, and her own vitality, but also there was a connection to Findhorn that had been a long time dream of mine. I don't know if I had talked personally with people from Findhorn before, although I did meet someone. So to be given an intimate tour of her community, her living space and her community, to see the delight she had in showing us the fresh, clean water, the birds, and so forth. It was absolutely thrilling. That's it. Thank you.
I am grateful for several transformative occurrences in gatherings, some of them with the sustainable health, some of them with just one-on-one in sharing and breakouts. And I'm grateful for having met someone knew, who is an artist and a writer, at Rick Feltington, and joined him one day with Helen. It was just the three of us to experience creating together and improv on the chapter of his The Prophecy of the Great Brightening. It was just so much a delight to create together on the spot, not knowing where it was going to go, but we were both, all three, ready to just meander to where it took us and experiment. And it reminded me of the aliveness of being in an open, creative space and ready to hear what wants to move, whether I'm hearing it in my body or hearing it in a word or hearing it in a sound that wants to come out. And so it reminded me of the value of playing more improv. And I'm going to look for more of that in my life. So it was a delight, and it was a special delight to do that with Helen and Rick. And I wasn't able to make any more of those meetups, and I may never hear the whole thing how it turned out, but it doesn't really matter because it was really an alive moment that I really enjoyed, and it sparked something in me, a memory of play that I've been missing. So I'm gonna find more of that somehow. Well, there's another one I'll probably mention in our next round with the calls, some of Mark's calls with the Indigenous friends. That'll probably be honoring our pain. So thank you.
When you thought of giving a name to these 6 weeks of Now What, I'm always a little bit of a skeptic. I'm not a big skeptic. But I always do that coming into a space with an open heart and an open mind. And I have never seen so much of people walking, being human in all these different circles and circumstances, trying to build things together that was really not easy and challenging. And it's very uplifting. I don't know how to translate that into words, but it's this really gathering of human beings being human. It's wow, please more. More of this. It's I hope to be surfing on these different waves until the next Now What, and keep all this beautiful relationship and build together. There's so much to be done, and we have that energy that can change other people and put them into a position to be human themselves and acknowledge the complexity of being human. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to create these engagement streams and giving a voice to Indigenous people. And thank you to everyone who showed up to hold the space for them and to listen, things we don't do enough. There is something that I will keep with me because that's such a powerful understanding of what Indigenous people are going through is Diara, when she said that for us, it's not about decolonizing, it's about counter-colonizing. And I think that sets the stage for something that is much more profound and much more empowering than to fight something, but to counter it and use it to build something that is more welcoming for everyone, to collaborate. And the co is very important in everything that we do, I feel. So with this, I'm complete. Thank you.
You mentioned Dayara, Mark, and she came to mind for me as well as just a very special and powerful presence among so many. I love the way she said, you know, speaking of indigenous people, we are not fairies. Naming this way that it's so easy for those of us who want to be woke, you know, and are looking for answers and feeling like we need support and help. Oh, there's this indigenous wisdom and these indigenous people, and you know, if we just can tap into them and empower them, you know, and follow them, then magically it all, you know, gets worked out. And she was just so sort of clear and fierce, and on the one hand saying, well, of course we have an enormous amount of wisdom to offer, and yes, we are leading, and you should pay attention to that. And you know, we're not magical beings. And then she said, she named this other thing. I think it was something along the lines of saying, you know, we're just as much a part of this time as you. You know, we are modern in the sense that we are here in this moment, and we've been here. Our ancestors have been here as long as anyone else's. It's not like they're coming out of some time capsule. And I thought that was also just really a powerful reframing, you know, and sort of and what was it, Mark? So it's not decolonizing, but counter colonizing of a certain view we have of, oh, you know, these primitive people who are carrying these traditions that we've lost, and they can give back to us. And it's like, as opposed to they're modern folks looking at the modern world, you know, from this same moment in time. So I just really appreciated not just your words, Dayara, but the energy and the beauty with which you brought them to us. It was just such a wonderful gift. Thank you.
I was especially moved in the calls that Mark helped gather, the Big Wind and Mark and Diara, and the indigenous folks speaking from their cultures, from their perspective, and from their perspective of how frustrating it is and difficult it is to be working together with people from the dominant culture who mean well and who don't know what they don't know and don't know they don't know it. And I'm one of those. And I felt their pain, and I was glad to hear them express it to us. And it touched me. And the strength, especially of Diara as she spoke, I was really feeling her fire and fortitude and truth and grief all at the same time as she expressed it, and her determination and her presenting that to us to feel, to get in touch with, so that we might open to a different way we could possibly move together in as we make commitments together, different cultures, to try to open up something more that looks more like life, enhancing and thriving for everybody. So I was touched to feel that pain and the beautiful expression of it by each of them as they are continuing their passing on of the traditions and hoping to open up a way together That's it.
Pain is a strange beast. It's there, it's like it seizes you, you know. As it claws a jaw. And it's something that I have such like many, I guess, you know, a particular relationship with being an empath. And when I'm here and my spirit and being is there in the Amazon mostly, but not only, with indigenous people, it is something that is very constant, but it comes more from my inability to communicate what I feel or what they share with me. So this opportunity to open a circle for Diara, Kenyon, Marcus, and Big Wayne allowed that. And there's so much that's still moving inside of me from what I heard, because, you know, now I can say, well, I have a video. I got a conversation that, you know, you guys can hear and listen to and realize why it's such a complex story to share when I'm not the one living that experience, and I'm only the one feeling that experience. And the need to have us sit and listen to all these different journeys towards reclaiming their own power and acknowledging that power and how much it is needed in the world we have and the challenges we face right now. So it's both liberating and acknowledging that it probably will come back in one form or another. It's still a strange beast. Thank you.
In one of the sessions, a woman named Anita, representing her Aztec culture, said that even though she mourns the physical death of elders during this time, it's not knowing what they have to teach, what they have to say, that she mourns more. And I, at this moment, I think of the teachers I have lost: Gwen Osborne, Anne Rudolph, Emily Conrad, and many, many teachers who are alive but no longer really available, accessible to me. And I don't know what they have to teach me. I don't know. I don't know what they have. They have given me so much when they were my teachers, and I woke up so much when they were my teachers, and I really have no idea what kind of things they would teach me if they were still here.
I think that my sense of the pain of the world has always been with me. my entire life. And I believe that's in part why I do almost everything, if not everything, that I do. And what I feel in this moment is the pain of the suicidal tendency that seems so common. And I'm speaking of people in power, for instance, who are blind. People in power, quotes around that, in power. People in positions of power. They're not in power themselves, but they're in positions of power. I see those people as suicidal and in more pain than anybody else, and blind to that pain, blind to how they're acting out of that pain. And I think that's the most difficult pain I have ever encountered, because I can't seem to break through it. I can't even break through to an understanding of it. I won't stop trying to build a bridge to those people who are in so much pain. But I have not succeeded. I feel completely blocked. And that pain, the pain of this suicidal blindness, is the pain I feel. It's a horrible pain. It's a horrible pain. And that's what I feel at this moment.
So, as one of the fortunate journeyers through the prophecy of the Great Brightening with Rick, I had the opportunity to meet this amazing character named Asan. And Asan is kind of my new hero. He has a very bright spirit, and yet in the prophecy there is sadness. There are riots, there's bloodshed, there are overturned cars and people in comas. And one of the moments that I love the most of the prophecy was when Asan is confronted with those things and he begins to cry. And he's with these boys who live in the land, and they say, don't cry, Asan. You need to be strong. And he said, well, where I come from, we have to cry. You know, it's our technology for staying present. And I just really appreciated that lesson from Asan. And I'm thinking a lot right now about the word vulnerable and how often we use that and have used that in a negative way, and just how important it feels right now to be vulnerable. So thanks to Rick for creating Asan, and thanks to Asan for reminding us the importance of crying. If you don't know the kind of person I am, and I don't know the kind of person you are, a pattern that others made may prevail in the world, and following the wrong God home, we may miss our star.
For there is many a small betrayal in the mind, a shrug that lets the fragile sequence break, sending with shouts the horrible errors of childhood, storming out to play through the broken dike.
And as elephants parade, holding each elephant's tail. But if one wanders, the circus won't find the park. I call it cruel, and maybe the root of all cruelty, to know what occurs, but not recognize the fact.
And so I appeal to a voice, to something shadowy, a remote, important region in all who talk. Though we could fool each other, we should consider, lest the parade of our mutual life get lost in the dark.
For it is important that awake people be awake, or a breaking line may discourage them back to sleep. The signals we give, yes or no, or maybe, should be clear. The darkness around us is deep.
Mm-hmm.
Another few closing words by Antonio Machado. Tú eres como el sol. Cuando vienes, se hace de día en mi corazón. You are like the sun. When you arrive, it is dawn in my heart.
Like that.